Hey everyone, in this TFT video we're going to look at our 5 best comps to play in Ranked for 10.7. Now this list is curated by our experts including Ace of Spades, who is live playing them pretty much every single day. You can find all of these comps and a ton of others as well, including our new leveling guides on our website, so you can follow along with them in game properly. 10.7 saw the fall of Rebels, which has thankfully opened up a bunch of new comps to play, and we have 2 new S tier comps. So first of all, we have our Mech Infiltrators. They were already pretty good before. It's not a new comp, but it's now extremely strong, and if you high roll, so you 3-star everything, then not much can stop you from winning the game. These 2 and 3 cost champions are extremely strong when you get them to 3-star, meaning you can slow roll for them all together and then immediately power up. If you have good items for Kai'Sa or Shaco and the Mech as well, then this is a really good comp to go for, providing lots of others are not also going for the same. In set 3, contested comps are far more difficult to 3-star, so you have to really be careful that lots of others are not going to play the same thing. If they have early Kai'Sas, Mechs or Shaco, then it will become a lot harder to get them 3-star when you roll for them, but saying that, each of these units are able to carry properly themselves, and that is what makes it so deadly. Shaco has huge burst damage, and with Infinity Edge and Bloodthirster, he'll be able to one-shot while healing back to full health every single time. Kai'Sa has huge AoE damage at the back with her Morelos, applying that to everybody around her, and if you pair that with something like a SirhcEz or Demolitionist, she'll be able to ult even more and stun everybody around her. The Mech is your huge frontline, which buys time for your carries to kill everything and then cleans up fights afterwards. Now Quicksilver Sash might not seem like a good item on it, but it stops the Mech being Zephyred, which is the biggest counter to this entire comp. There are 2 ways to play this comp though, so you can roll at 5 to kind of favor Annie and Kai'Sa 3-star, or you go to level 6 to favor Shaco and Rumble as well, and a slightly reduced chance at Annie and Kai'Sa. Slow rolling is the best way to do this, and what we mean by that is rolling down to 50 gold every single turn while looking for your units, and once you have your 3-stars, then you start to level. You do want to make sure that you position your Kai'Sa and Shaco in front on the opposite side of the enemy carries, so they jump straight over to them and kill them instantly at the start of a fight, and this comp is really good versus backline carry comps like Jhin. The comp actually is quite flexible. You want to prioritize items for who you're going to get 3-star first. So if you're finding lots of Kai'Sas, get some AP items, or if you're going for Shaco, get some BF swords. The early mid game mostly revolves around collecting pieces that you need, but not trying to lose too much health early, so that might mean using Vanguards or Brawlers for a frontline just for a little bit. If you find early Fizz, you will save a ton of health. You stick him in, get your Mech, and then roll each turn to find your 3-star units, and that's pretty much it. We do actually have a brand new comp, and this is our Void Brawler Sorc. So Vel'Koz will do true damage and insta-burst the entire enemy team, plus you get a really good frontline with your Brawlers to let him pop off. If you start the game with mage items, particularly like Tears and Rods, then this is a really good comp to go for at the moment, but you definitely need a 1-tier item at least. Now I normally never point out positioning because it's not really too important and it will change it based on game to game and round to round even, but this comp barely does. You will need to stick your Vel'Koz here or one spot above this because you will start hitting whoever the Blitzcrank pulls in, and that directs his ultimate outwards towards the entire enemy team. That part is really important. Make sure you actually listen to this formation guide, but item wise, SirhcEz is the best. Spear of Shojin isn't too bad either. Spell Crit is really good to demolish teams. Morello and Deathcap can also work, and then some defensive item in general, Quicksilver Sash or Guardian Angel is pretty good. Your other items that you get throughout the game will likely go onto your Cho'Gath, who also does a surprising amount of damage with the Void buff with the true damage, or just make him survive longer to buy Vel'Koz a bit more time. This comp is especially really good right now because it's relatively easy to find, and you have a solid early game into this straight afterwards. You can run a normal Sorc comp, which is pretty good early, having Ari to hold your items, and then swap into this at level 7 or 8 when you find your Vel'Koz 2-star. The last sorcerer here can really be anything, though Twisted Fate can give Chrono buff, or Lux is really good for more crowd control, but you'll notice is actually only 7 units. That is because you don't need more than that to make it actually work, and normally your other spot here will be another Cho'Gath or Vel'Koz 2 for more true damage. One cool trick that you might want to start using is Zephyr on Blitzcrank, or actually your corner unit is really good so that it hooks the second unit from the corner, which is normally a priority carry that they're trying to protect. If nobody else is going this comp as well, then definitely stay at level 8 instead of going to level 9 and slowly roll to try and find your 3-star Vel'Koz or Cho'Gath. It's actually not that difficult if nobody else has them. In this game that I'm showing you, I didn't have perfect items, but I did manage to find a 3-star Cho'Gath and a Vel'Koz while rolling down, so it's actually not that hard. Early to mid game, you want to run your Brawlers and your Sorcs early game if you can, but Star Guardians is probably the best way to win streak if possible. possible. You can keep running mages mid-game and then swap to this later, especially if you have 4 of them and Seraphs on the Ahri or Syndra. You're going to run it through teams that haven't really powered up yet, and then you'll get to level 7, 8 if you can get there quite early and roll down to complete your comp. So those are our 2 S tier compositions. We have one more, and that is going to be Cybernetics still, but because we talked about them in pretty much every TFT video we've done so far, we're going to save that till the last one and then move on to some of our new A tier ones that have sprung up this patch. So the first of these is Chrono Kayle. Kayle carry has become extremely potent in 10.7. There are loads of ways to do this though: 6 Blade Masters, 3 Blade Masters, Rebels, but the most consistent is Chrono Kayle. If you can find early items that fit well on a Kayle, then this is definitely going to be a really good comp to run, but they are extremely important. Kayle on her own, it doesn't really do too much, but with good attack speed items, she will run through the entire enemy team and pretty much kill them herself. So Rage Bait works really well with Blade Master to stack it up a bit quicker. Hannah Justice can heal or do a bit more damage, and Guardian Angel keeps her alive against the mech infiltrator players in your lobby. Static Shiv is also a very good item for more early game to save some health and get a win streak, and Rapid Fire Cannon can keep her rooted in place pretty much like a turret. Misfortune will be your secondary carry later as Blade Masters start to fall off just a little bit, but she'll also give Valkyrie, so mana items or AP damage is ideal. This comp is actually very strong at early game if you play it well, so you can win streak into Kayle afterwards and then to level 8 or level 9 and find the rest of your composition. Having an early game Shiv or Rage Bait on somebody like Xayah can let you do some serious damage, and then you simply sell that and transfer the items to Kayle later, so it's really easy. You can also run things like Vanguards or Brawlers early with 3 Blade Masters until you find everything that you need later, and also Kassadin is amazing as a mana reaver once you have Irelia too, but Kassadin is actually just very strong on its own. Part of the reason we're not suggesting 6 Blade Masters or anything like that is because this one actually has extremely good synergy between every single unit, which makes his late game just as powerful as well. So as you're playing this through the game, Kai'Sa can easily hold any items that you have for Misfortune early, since both do really well with mana and AP, which can also save you a lot of health early. In this comp as well, Kayle gets 4 Chrono buff, Valkyrie, and a Blade Master, but there are other ways you can get these, like with Wukong or Yasuo, until you find them all later. For early and mid game, if you find early Chrono, it's extremely strong early because fights last a little bit longer, especially with Kayle items that you have anyway, but you can run a lot of different things and just save gold and save health. You ideally want to find a Kayle as soon as possible, at level 6 if you're lucky, definitely at level 7, but even a 1-star Kayle can do some serious damage, and a lot of different units will work instead as long as you have the 4 Chrono. Another new comp this patch that is really popular and really fun to play as well is our 6 Dark Stars. Dark Star was changed this patch, so all Dark Stars now gain AD and AP when one of them dies, and that funny enough made running 6 much more viable. You do need good items for Shaco, but if you find them and you find early Dark Stars, then you can definitely run this comp pretty much every game. So let's start with the core idea. Your frontline dies, your backline Dark Stars kill everybody. Sounds pretty good, right? And it's pretty easy. Shaco will likely be the last one alive every single fight, and with 6 of those buffs, he's an absolute machine that will clean up those fights. Now this again is why we want Infinity Edge for damage, but especially Bloodthirster for the healing. Since you do so much damage with that buff anyway, you need to heal it back up, and this allows him to carry himself. Guardian Angel is really good in case he gets crowd controlled or burst early, but it allows the other Dark Stars to die before him, so he gets those massive buffs. Also remember that every single unit in TFT now has an AP scaling in some way or another on their ultimate ability, so Shaco's will let his ultimate do much more damage, so you can mix and match things on items even if they aren't perfect. Spare items will go on your frontliners like Mordekaiser or Jhin, who can also actually carry really well in this comp. If you actually want to win a game with this composition, then you will need a 3-star Shaco at least, and if you can get 3-star Lux or Mordekaiser, that would definitely help as well. This comp doesn't require you to slow roll as much as Mech Infiltrator, for example. You're not looking for a ton of different things, so going to level 7 before you start to roll is normally a good way to do it. Just be sure to scout and make sure other players aren't removing all those Shacos from the pool already, because a lot of different comps are going to use it. One cool thing as well is that this comp also uses pretty similar items to Jhin carry, so if you can't find many Shacos but you do find early Jhin or lots of Jhins, then you could consider just swapping over to that one instead, and we'll link that down below. Early mid-game, you can use a lot of different things, but you can use snipers to hold the Shaco items with a Dark Star frontline, or use something like Vanguards and just swap over completely later. The sooner you find your Shaco 2-star though, and 6 Dark Stars, the sooner you'll actually start to win streak and save your health, so try and aim for that mid-game as soon as you can. As we said earlier, we're now going to go back into our Cybernetics, which is one of the best comps in the game, if not actually the best right now, and definitely S tier. So Cybernetics gain bonus health and damage by holding a component or completed item, right? But they are also extremely versatile, now using things like KO and Misfortune for more late game threat. Cybers are definitely best when you have good economy early or good early game, so you can win streaks, so you can save your way up to level 8 and find that echo comfortably. But Irelia items are also really important. This is one of the adaptations that have come in, especially in 10.7. Irelia is now the true carry of cybers, and this is what lets them be one of, if not the strongest comp in the game when built correctly. Infinity Edge is core on her. Without it, she does basically no damage, but with it, she will jump around and one-shot everything. Guardian Angel will keep her alive as she dives in, and then if you can find some healing, that is amazing on her, or the Infiltrator Xpecial item to pair with Echo and reach the backline is also really good. Red buff is great for Lucian to early win streak, but you can also transfer that to Echo late game as he applies that burn and a healing reduction with his ultimate when he hits everybody. Echo can hold basically anything though. Thieves Glove is really good for that reason, but whatever you have spare is going to work. This comp has a lot of variation, as we've said, but late game you're going to have Mana Reaver with Thresh, and you can even swap what we show here with Shen and Ezreal to Kayle and Misfortune. Both of those provide Blade Master and a Blaster, which is what Shen and Ezreal are doing anyway, but they carry more late game. So there are two ways to play this composition. Either you're on a fast 8 just before the carousel and stage 4, which works if you streak or have really good economy, and then find Echo before anybody else. If it's not contested, nobody else is going cybernetics, then you can go to 8 at the end of stage 4 and roll down then, having more gold and a more chance to find him. One really important thing is you will want to use your items to win streak. You'll need to make them into complete items, but don't get stuck not being able to sell things like Leona and Fiora later so you can transfer those items onto Irelia. So definitely hold some spares. While there are loads of different ways to play this early game, Lucian is going to be one of your main damage threats for cybernetics early into the game. So always try and grab a good item for him, like a red buff, even something like a Giant Slayer for him to start and win streak into the game. Early game, you can pretty much play whatever you want. You can definitely play Cybernetics. You can also play 4 Vanguards, which is really good. But then mid-game, you want to try and find your Irelia, swap your items over to her, and throw in Blade Masters if you have them. Once you can safely level up to 8 with as much gold as you can spare, you roll for your Echo, and you spike up in power with 6 Cybers. Then you recover your economy, try to go to level 9 so you can fit in your Kayle and Misfortune. So that is going to wrap up the video on our top 5 comps for ranked in 10.7 for TFT set 3. Let us know what you think of these or any others that you might be using. One of the really cool things right now is there are actually a lot of different comps that are good, and you can see those comps over on Mobalytics. There is a link down below. That's going to be all from me for now, so I'll catch you in our next TFT video.